Hey guys, Mike here. So what an interesting day in the market with yields doing what? Spiking even before the market opened, which we're going to go into and why that might have happened for sure. And then, of course, the events that follow after that, which is what you saw happen today. And then we'll go over something to watch on the NASDAQ 100 or the QQQ for sure. And then we'll go over some charts and stuff and show you where money is definitely going or might be going. And then 3 events that I meant to put in Sunday, I did not, but 3 events that could shape April and the direction of April and where we're actually heading after so much green coming through and out of March and stuff. But I did want to start off with this right here because it's pretty fascinating to me. And I wasn't sure if you were aware of this. I was not aware of this, but I'm showing this for a couple of reasons. One is an amazing thing to watch this. This is from Charlie Blail and on Twitter, so feel free to follow him. But it talks about Warren Buffett's net worth, right? And obviously he's one of the richest men in the world. But when you look at this, at age 65, he was worth about $3 billion. And then he really obviously didn't start getting a lot of his wealth till after that, right? And so at 93 now, he's worth $138 billion. So in the first 65 years of his life, let's say from 18 to 65, because he's been in investor for a long time, he accumulated $3 billion. But in the next, almost not 30 years, 28 years, he ended up accumulating $135 billion. And I showed that for 2 reasons. One, I thought that was a very interesting fact about Warren Buffett. I did not know that. Let me know in the comments if you did. But also, to show investors, whether you're young, medium, old, it don't matter, the power of compounding. Like once you get, because, compounding $10,000 is tough. We've all started there and it's tough, right? It takes quite a while. But all of a sudden, when you get to the first 100,000, then you make the right investments, you really get to see the power of compounding. And then once you get to your first $250,000, then you really, it's like turbo acceleration from there on. So, that's why you got to stick with it, making, again, go by your risk profile, do what you want to do. But, obviously safer investments, and if you're pulling 15% a year, 20%, you're killing it. Don't forget that. I know we think 100% a year is normal. That is not, by the way. But again, so it may take, you may be at 40 and you're like, I just don't really have enough. Well, he was at 65. Don't get me wrong, $3 billion is a lot of money. But see where you went from $3 billion to $180-something billion, right, in 28 years versus what he did in probably was like 40-something years. And so at least I wanted to show you that for that reason. But yes, just wait till you get the first 100,000 and your first $250,000. Please put in the comments if you've done that and you know what I'm talking about, so you can kind of give people some hope on that, okay? Now, what happened today? 10-year just came out even before the market opened, and it was moving, man. At one point in time, I think it was almost 3% up, right? And then, of course, we had some news hit at 10, which absolutely accelerated, of course, even more. But when you have yields going up that much, that quickly, because remember, the futures gapped up on Sunday, right? And so that we came out, when I woke up this morning to do the morning news brief, we were already sitting at like 0.7% on RTY, 0.5% on SPY and QQQ. But then we have PMI data hit, and all of a sudden they were like, whoa, we broke 50% for the first time in over 2 years, okay? I mean, 2022, it went below 50, which means you're in contraction. Above 50, you're actually coming out of contraction into expansion. And it's like, wow, it's been a long time. And I think I actually realized as I'm talking about this, what absolutely got yields going. It was that, might have been leaked, but also in the morning news brief, if you look, you have China here. They came out and had basically the same thing going on. China's manufacturing activity expanded for the first time in 6 months in March. An official factory survey showed on Sunday, supporting oil demand, the world's largest crude importer, even as crisis in the property sector continues to drag. But they had good economic news come out of contraction, right? So, of course, what happens when you got all this data coming out? All of a sudden, these rate cuts in June end up going from 63% 1 week ago down to 51%. Again, this changes as data changes. You might get terrible jobs data. We might get strong jobs data tomorrow. We got a lot of red folder news coming out this week. But, of course, when that happens, well, we already talked about XLEs breaking out, right? Semiconductors, shockingly, they were moving this one up right out of the gate. Communication, but what you saw was happening is money was moving back into safe haven plays, right? It was moving to a Meta. It was going into Microsoft. It was going into Google like crazy, which we'll talk about. And then everything else, especially small caps, things like that, real estate, forget about it. right? Especially FinTech is another one, just a mess because they really need the rate cuts to do anything. Now, you might also noted, well, that's why Chinese stocks were pretty much all green. That and the delivery numbers from the EVs were better than expected. Don't forget, we got Tesla's delivery numbers tomorrow. And before we continue, please hit that thumbs up for me and think about subscribing. If you like this kind of content, I do daily updates and then Saturday videos. We'll answer all your questions in the comments and stuff. Thank you very much for your support. Now, what to look for on NDX here, which is NASDAQ 100 or the QQQ. There, on the weekly, we might be getting a bearish MACD cross. When this happens, and I say maybe, you see they're touching, is thinking about it, here we go. But any other time we've seen it, usually anywhere 3 to 5%, can be up to 10 if it's a big one. And so keep a close eye on that. But again, as long as you see this trade start to push these mega caps back up again, or they start rolling the semis and all this other stuff because they're afraid of rate cuts, not going to happen. It's going to be really hard to push the NASDAQ 100 down. You can see this trend line here, and that may act as support. If we do get a bearish MACD cross down and it moves down, that little area right there, which has acted as support, where we've seen the dips get bought up multiple times. This goes back all the way to January, okay, at the beginning of the year, then that's about 5%, right, which is kind of what you would probably expect and stuff. So, if that's the case, just keep an eye on that, so don't be shocked if it happens. Now, AMD, again, this year-to-date anchor VWAP is holding up. It's been a great time to buy right there. Again, they were pushing up day. It was up about 3% at one point in time. But that trend line, which was acting as support, is now acting as resistance right there. You can see the MACD's trying to curl up, go back in the positive and everything. And you can see your weekly ranges right there. They're staying anywhere from 172 to 188, it looks like. And then we go over to NVIDIA, and I'm going to show you where the money is really going to Simmons right now. But you can see all it is just sitting in this box, right? We're still accumulating since March right here, or whatever, trading sideways, basically from one of those gray boxes to the next, right? And so you can see, though, when we go to the hourly, more importantly, if we look at this, that is setting a lower high right here on the hourly. And so that's very important to understand. And it came back up into that little box right there, got into what? An area which has been known as a supply area at some points in times, also into a fair value gap, and then sold back down. So it's actually, believe it or not, one of the weaker of the semis today, which is kind of shocking because obviously it's the king. But again, it settles right here in this area we've seen multiple times before, active support and everything. And so when we go over here, you'll see on the weekly, if we can show some weakness, if this continues to show weakness after weeks and weeks and weeks of bullishness, obviously, maybe we finally get a retest of the 50. I mean, it's only 13% down, which with this move up, has been nuts or whatever. But again, you see the weekly expected move, that will put us well below it. Cannot even imagine that happening this week without something crazy going on. Let me get rid of these moving averages. And so, again, and it's every time we show something going on with the rates, this is exactly where they go. They go right back to the semis, the Microsofts, the Metas and stuff. And that's why this one just doesn't move like the other stocks when you expect it to. And you can see we're right in between on the weekly expected move right now. And so, again, you can see us trade down right there, maybe to the low. If we get more weakness going on tomorrow, if we get economic news, which, scares the market, or really the bond market or anything else about these rate cuts and stuff, you can see some weakness going down to the 860s and stuff. But again, just something to watch out for on that one. But if you want to know where the money's going, it's going to MU, right? MU is up 32% in like 8 days. And you can see this when we go to the hourly. This one's just stair-stepping up, setting higher highs, higher lows along the way right here. And we even put in a little channel right here because that's exactly what's happening on the hourly. So it is a upward trending channel right now, as you can see. And so that's where this one's going. It's the flavor of the month. We've gone through, or it was NVIDIA, then it was AMD, then it was SMCI. I think ARM was thrown there somewhere. And now it's MU. It's like musical chairs. Okay, so that is what is happening until it does not. And so we'll keep an eye on MU. Let me know if you're in that one or not. And then when we come over here to Amazon, right? Something a little different, but this one right here was green today. Now, it finally broke out of this consolidation phase, still holding that trend line. And if you look at that big line right up top up there, surprisingly to a lot of people, that right there is actually all-time highs, because this is one of the Mag 7 that hasn't hit all-time highs. With Tesla's in the dumps, so we don't have to worry about that one. Google's hit all-time highs. Meta's hit all-time highs. I think I'm correct on that one. NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, at some point in time in the last 12 months, hit all-time highs. And then here is Amazon, only 4% away. So watch that one for sure. And then you look at Palantir, this head and shoulders was playing out perfectly today until it hit the 50 moving average. So that's what saved it today. Whether or not it's going to break or not, we'll have to see. This is one of those stocks that does respect this 50 moving average. You can look down to the left. You can see obviously where it got rejected multiple times before breaking out on an earnings deal there. And so we'll see if this is going to continue to play down or maybe get some love up to that trend line right there, which will now be resistance before continuing down. And again, if we have something going on with the rates, if rates start moving back up and things like that, it will hurt Palantir just like it will any other growth stocks. So just keep that in mind. Now, you look at Nike. All right, this one right here is coming down. Let's tell members, end of this little trend line has been wedging, right? This will be the third time it bounces if it bounces. We've had 3 rejections so far. So will buyers come in? We'll have to see. You don't have earnings for quite a while, but you can see how this one's moving right here. Obviously, it's been a mess really because of China. And so you would think if China has any kind of positive news, this one would actually play out. But let's see on that one. I just want to put that on your radar. Told you about PayPal. As long as you're not setting a higher high right here, which is not, it got rejected. You can call that a double top if you want to. Broke this trend line. But again, the reason why it's red, because all fintech was red. Because anytime rates spike, it's going to really hurt fintech. It's been one of the worst sectors of any of them. Most of them have all broken out of the stage 1. I've showed you these multiple times. They're still in stage 1, trying to break out into stage 2. And so this is what happens. Anytime yields spike, this one's going to get hurt. Square was down today. SoFi, all of them. Okay. Now, when it comes to earnings, the only one on here really Paycheck and then, or Paychecks. And then Dave & Buster's another one. Again, nothing mega going on this week with earnings. Then Tuesday, tomorrow, we're going to have more red folder news. We'll end up with factory orders, the JOLTS job openings, JOLTS job quits going on here. A lot of Fed speakers are going to be talking tomorrow. I mean, a lot of them, right? Besides that, there are 3 events happening this month. I apologize for not telling you about this Sunday, but you'll have earnings season starting on April 10th. Then March CPI falls on the same day, and then you have the crypto halving on April 22nd. And so that is definitely 3 events that can, help shape where the market is going to go and stuff. And so let me know what you think down in the comments. And I know Fed Powell, I believe he speaks Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that ahead of time. So he did speak Friday, but the market was closed. And the one thing he said, which, nobody seems to want to hear, is, he straight up said it. He's like, hey, we're not in any hurry to cut rates, right? So whether that's the case or not, we'll have to see. Again, this is a presidential election year. And I think it's true, is like, if this president loses, I'm assuming this dude is going to lose his job, and I assume he likes his paycheck and what he's getting and all the little things that come with that. Maybe I'm wrong, and so you would think on his part he'd do everything he could to make sure the economy stays going or whatever it is, and the stock market stays up as best it could. But who knows? Anyway, just want to put that out there to you. So hope you got something out of it. Hit the like and subscribe button if you did. Really appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.